80% of poinsettias don't survive past January, some due to wrong plant care, while others are sadly mistakenly thought to have already passed the heaven plant breeds. Last year, I rescued a dying poinsettia just before Christmas, and although we didn't get the chance to enjoy her beauty, today she is thriving and ready for the holidays with these big red bracts. I may have overdone the fertilizing, but poinsettias aren't just for Christmas. With this plant care guide, yours can become a stunning houseplant to decorate your holidays for many years to come. We were also lucky enough to be given a few pots because they were not appropriate for sale, which means that this gives me the opportunity to not only tell you but actually show you all the signs and problems of each state. If your plant drops its leaves or loses its color, get ready because we're going to save it. I'll teach you everything it takes to make your poinsettias thrive, including a crucial light schedule that triggers these big, vivid bracts and how to do it like a true professional. Let's start with the light. As always, for these plants, for their daily care, you must provide them with bright, indirect light to stay on the safe side. But I prefer to give them full, direct morning sunlight. Afternoon sunlight might scorch the leaves, but still remember that these are native to Mexico, which means that they like the heat, they like the sun, but still, to be safe, introduce it slowly to the direct sunlight and observe any changes. If you see any burned leaves, just take a step back. We never know how your plant used to grow. In order to achieve those stunning bracts again next Christmas, your plant needs to spend at least 14 to 16 hours of complete darkness daily starting in October, and I will explain how to do this correctly later because first we must cover soil mix. Poinsettias prefer a well-draining soil mix because their biggest fear and enemy is root rot. That's why sometimes when I repot them, I prefer to use aroid soil mixes because they give that great drainage plus some moisture retention, which these guys love. But if you prefer to mix your own soil mixes, here is a list of all the things that I would include. If you lift the pot and it is light, you can go ahead and water it. If it is heavy or if the soil mix is still moist, whether you check it with your finger, a stick or a moisture meter, don't water it. Wait till the pot dries 50 to 75% at least before watering because these things really hate waterlogged situations. Time for some warning signs that your plants might be screaming for help, and let's give a proper welcome to our guest stars, the candy cane and the pink poinsettia. First of all, if you are getting yellowing leaves, it means that you have an overwatering problem. If you are getting crispy edges and crispy overall leaves, it means that you have an underwatering problem. If you see sudden drop of a lot of leaves like this one here, or even worse, like this one here, it means that you are facing a temperature shock. Yes, temperatures can create such a big problem because, as we said earlier, these plants are coming from warmer climates, which means that they cannot tolerate cold. You need to protect them. That's why we always recommend to avoid getting any plants, any poinsettias that are waiting to be adopted in front of stores, doors, or windows. These two, unfortunately, were waiting in front of the store at the road, waiting for someone to adopt them, and ended up looking like this. But that's not the end of the world because, you see, they can come back next year. It doesn't matter if your poinsettia loses all its leaves by the end of the holidays. You can always prune it and make it come back even bushier. Did you know that even a 5-minute temperature shock can cause a disaster? That is why you should never expose your poinsettias to temperatures below 55 Fahrenheit or 13 Celsius. Even if it is just for a few minutes of transport, keep them well protected. Even if your poinsettia has lost all its leaves, it doesn't mean that it is dead. One way to check if it is healthy and still has a chance to survive is to take it out of the pot and check the roots. If they are white in color or simply bright yellow, you are good to go. If they are brown or dark, it means that you are probably having root rot, which means that there is another obstacle to fight. We haven't lost the war yet, it's just another fight. When February comes, it is crucial for you to prune your plant if you want it to make a good, strong comeback for the next season. To correctly prune your poinsettia, you must cut all the stems back to 4 to 6 inches above the soil. You must find the node and cut above the node. When the time comes, the plant will create new branches from the remaining nodes. If your plant still has healthy leaves, you can leave 1 to 3 leaves on each stem. You should always remove any weak growths because these are going to slow down the progress. Always use clean, sharp pruners to prevent disease. If this is the first year that you have your poinsettia, this is the best time to check if you need to downsize the pot. If the roots are not enough, they won't be able to handle all the moisture around the soil mix, so always have the right size of pot for the root ball. Since your poinsettia won't have any leaves at this stage, you need to slow down the watering and only water it when it is dry. Always check before watering. Wait for a few months to pass and here comes May. During May, you will see a lot of new growth. When this new growth reaches 6 to 8 inches, we need to pinch back the growing tips in order to make it create more branches. If you only prune during February, you are probably going to have a result looking like this. But if you want to create something like this, you need to do a second pinching again on the new growth during June and a last pinching during July. This is going to create a lot of branches resulting in this style. And as a warning, never prune after July 15 because late pruning will reduce the number of flower bracts, delay your Christmas blooming and create uneven growth patterns. The February pruning is absolutely critical. It sets up your entire year's growth pattern. Skip this step and you will get a leggy, sparse plant that won't give you that full traditional poinsettia look that we want for Christmas. For stunning results, we need to start fertilizing from spring to summer with a balanced fertilizer, for example 15-15-15, and stop by September because we need to prepare for blooming. You can always take a step further and make the fertilizing process even more advanced for each stage of the plant's growth, like this example here. Some warning tips. Again, if you have dark brown tips, it means that you are giving too much fertilizer, like here and here. If your plant has pale leaves, it means that it has a nitrogen deficiency. If you see that the bracts are small, it means that there is not enough phosphorus, so you need to add them with fertilizer. And finally, the reblooming stage. Hypothetically, it is October right now and our poinsettias are fully grown and green. So right now we are going to start a 6-week schedule to create all these stunning colors. Starting from October 1st, we need to daily place our plants into complete darkness for at least 14 to 16 hours. For the rest 8 to 10 hours, we need to provide our plants with a lot of bright indirect light or safe direct light like the morning sun. We also need to control the temperatures and keep them between 60 to 70 Fahrenheit or 15 to 21 Celsius because if they drop too low, then we fail the mission. During this period, we need to stop any fertilizings and just keep watering the plant when it needs it. If you see any pests on your poinsettia, just simply spray it with insecticide like you would do with any other houseplant. If you want to repot your poinsettia into a bigger pot, first make sure that she is at least slightly root bound and only increase the pot size by 1 inch in diameter. If the pot is too large for the root ball, then this can lead to root rot because the roots won't be able to control all this moisture in the soil mix. With poinsettias, you must always use pots with drainage holes because you know root rot is waiting in the corner. And if your poinsettia is in a wrap like this and you don't want to remove it, what you can do in order to avoid any root rot and stagnant water is to just open here a hole and let it drain like this. You should never repot during the blooming period, which also includes the dark treatment period and when you have summer heat, because repotting during these periods can stress the plant and can also disrupt the flowering cycle, the bracts formation, and also cause some leaf drop, so avoid that. The perfect timing to repot is when the blooming season has completely finished, which means late March to early April. This is when the new growth starts to appear.